Hello, fellow mompreneurs. Welcome to the Real Moms Podcast, the go-to space for resilient entrepreneurs who are striving for abundant living. I'm your host, Shay Spitz, a mompreneur and a realtor here in Columbus, Nebraska. Are you a mom juggling the hustle of entrepreneurship, family life, and personal growth? Well, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we dive deep into the real, unfiltered stories of incredible women who are navigating the journey of mompreneurship. We'll celebrate the victories, share practical insights, and acknowledge that it's okay to face challenges along the way. Success isn't about the destination. It's about the journey and the growth we experience as we balance our careers and the chaos of family life. Whether you're a seasoned mompreneur or just starting on this exciting path, join me and our amazing guests as we explore what it truly means to be a resilient entrepreneur striving for abundant living. Get ready for real, raw, and remarkable conversations that will inspire and uplift you. Because here at the Real Moms Podcast, we believe in the power of community, authenticity, and the strength that comes from embracing the journey together. So grab your coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's dive into the world of mompreneurship. This is the Real Moms Podcast, where we celebrate the hustle, honor the struggle, and thrive as resilient entrepreneurs living abundantly. Welcome to another episode of Real Moms Podcast. I like to start every podcast off with a motivational quote. And today's quote is, "It's not what you are that holds you back. It's what you think you are not." And that's by Dennis Waitley. So welcome to the Real Moms Podcast. I'm thrilled to introduce our guest for today, Ashley Milner, a seasoned agent with Remax Concepts with over 2 years of experience in the real estate industry. Ashley brings a wealth of knowledge and insight to the table. Today, Ashley will delve into the intricacies of balancing a thriving real estate career while simultaneously leading a sales team, actively engaging in the community, and nurturing a fulfilling home life with her husband and 4 children. It's a juggling act that many moms can relate to, the constant struggle to excel in multiple domains. Real estate is demanding, and entrepreneurship as a mom adds another layer of complexity, but Ashley firmly believes it's all worth it. Throughout our conversation, we'll explore the challenges she's faced, including battling imposter syndrome, a hurdle many of us encounter on our journeys to success. So whether you're a seasoned mompreneur or just starting your journey, join us as Ashley shares her experiences and insights, reminding us that while the path may be challenging, the rewards are immeasurable. So let's dive in. So thank you so much, Ashley, for being here today with me.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me. When I got the invite, I was so pumped. I know that there's a community out there of women just like me and, caregivers just like me that need their voices exemplified. So thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about not only obviously your real estate career, but tell me about your business career and what you also do on top of real estate.
Sure. Yeah, I would love to. So currently, first and foremost, the best opportunity, I think, above all, is one that doesn't necessarily pay in dividends, but it pays through charitable giving. And that's I'm a commissioner for the Housing and Homeless Board in Lancaster County. So that really has been a fine-tuned opportunity to kind of have a closer look and an ear out to all things housing, homelessness right here in my community. So above all, that's kind of where my heart lies. The next thing that I've had my hands in for about 10 years now is I work for a corporate insurance company, and I am a sales leader for that company. And I oversee anywhere from 12 to 18 licensed appointed property and casualty agents. So that's kind of my 40-hour work week, that I focus on. And that's really where my passion lies, is equipping and empowering and activating other people to live more of a sustainable lifestyle through, loving what they do for, their community at large. In addition to that, I do sell real estate, which again is also my passion. I treat it as if it's, my youngest baby. As you mentioned, I've only been in the business for about 2 years now, but have been, extremely blessed and, excited and just busy with the consistency that I've been getting from real estate, that it's really catapulted me into higher dimensions of thinking and, learning and, strategizing. And then, of course, I have my home which it entails my husband and my 4 children, which is just kind of the nucleus of all things. So I'm a boy mom, I'm a teenage mom, lots of Marvel conversations, lots of Hulk and Iron Man fun dramatic play things, but above all, yeah, I feel like I'm really a woman wearing a cape in this market for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. So tell me a little bit. So you had said something about the homeless shelter. What got you into doing that? And how long have you been on that board?
It's going on 2 years now, maybe 2.5 years now. And it's not so much working with the homeless shelter, it's just working with the population right here in our community in Lincoln, Nebraska, that are struggling to find housing needs. It's the elderly population, it's the foster children aging out. It's just, a whole span of opportunity in that. I would say what got me into it is I lived in Kansas for a short moment, and I served on a board there as well. And I relocated here, Nebraska native, but relocated back to my roots. And a friend of mine actually presented the opportunity to me, and not thinking at the time that this is going to help me have a competitive edge in real estate. Just merely looking at it as a servanthood opportunity is kind of what pulled me in. So been going strong about 2.5 years now, and I just feel more informed. And to be quite frank, it's kind of a great correlation, because I do feel like I'm more of an expert to my clients when they're looking for grants or first time home buying loans and just different pockets of, information. I do feel more resourceful with it. So definitely empowered by it.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. So I actually am the president of a board here in Columbus that we just recently started about 2.5 years ago. It's called Marigold Lanes. And real estate actually got me into it, but basically we created a 501c3, and it is a transitional housing for women with children. And it has been very difficult to find housing. We're looking for landlords to basically connect with and then be able to help these moms with kids who are homeless or near homeless be able to transition back into society and be able to get back on their feet without having to worry about housing. Because obviously, as a mother with kids, if the next thing that you're worried about is where you're going to sleep with your children, you're not thinking about where you're going to work. You're not thinking about getting the kids to school and having them in proper clothing. You're basically just worrying about food and shelter. And so I
Absolutely.
found the need for it about 2.5 years ago when I was looking at potentially purchasing this apartment complex. And I was with the property manager, and she goes to unlock the door, and she's like, "Well, that's weird. It's unlocked." And we walk in, and this was on a Monday. She was just there on like Thursday or Friday. And there was a twin air up mattress. There was one toothbrush in the bathroom. There was 3 cans of food sitting on the counter. There was a frozen, I'll never forget any of this. There was a frozen burrito bag in the fridge, and then half a gallon of milk. Long story short, it was a mom who was homeless, had 2 kids, had one of their kids was at school while the other one was a 18-month-old. And she ended up coming there as we were leaving, and we were talking to her. But the biggest hurdle was the language barrier. But I made a list of people to call because the language was not there. I left to go get a $50 gift card to Hy-Vee so she could provide food. And it was ever since then that I had no idea. I was talking to somebody else who's a nonprofit organization here in town. I said, "So how many transitional housing does Columbus have?" And she said, "None." I'm like, "Okay, we need to talk." So fast forward 2.5 years later, we have been able to help at least one family. We could absolutely help so many more, but it's the fact that we don't have any housing, no rentals that are within an affordable price point to be able to basically pass on, because this mom that we helped, she's got 3 kids. She is choosing to take over the lease. And so, which is amazing. She's gotten back on her feet. She's working 2 jobs, and she's going to take over the lease. So instead of us trying to find a place for her, we're willing to give up our rental. And because the more you move people, the more trauma you can cause and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to your situation, but it has informed me on the different grants, the rental opportunities that people have that the state does provide, because I think there's so much out there. and there's
Hmm.
abundance of money, but it's just
For
not
sure.
knowing where to go to apply, how to apply, and all of those things.
Absolutely. And that's crazy that you mentioned this. And I just love the connectivity with, the vision and what you're operating in. Thank you for what you're doing for the Columbus community. I serve on a board at my local church as well. I'm part of the leadership team, and we're creating an initiative to reach 70,000 single moms in Nebraska. So there's 70,000 moms that are being unhoused, unreached, unreachable, unloved. So we're creating a single moms university, actually, that's going to
Gosh.
help the women get through goal setting, help them get set up for a strong foundation, help them find housing and things like that. It's in the very delicate stages. So don't want to overshare too much, but we
Mhm.
do have a single moms group every Wednesday that meets at Christ Place Church. So please, if you know of anyone in the Lincoln area, please get them to that small group, because it's really taking off. And I know it's going to capture the community by storm for sure, in a good way.
Oh, that is amazing. I love collaborating and connecting with other mompreneurs who have the same vision, and we're looking to give back and help others. Like
Yes,
it's not about what we can do in our life for ourselves and our own family, but what we can do for others. And I've always said, or at least for the last 5 years, you give back to others and expect nothing in return. And you need to
absolutely.
truly believe that, because I do believe that there is going to be a greater reward down the road, but you truly want to your core, help others and not expect anything in return, because that's really what we are here to do, is to serve God and to serve those around us. Because
Yes.
I mean, that's honestly, that's what fulfills me more than anything. I mean, yes, I love helping people buy and sell, and it is very fulfilling when people get to do that for the first time, or they're finding their dream home and things along those lines. But when you can help people just out of the goodness of your heart and not have a direct correlation with something in return, it's just like, they say selfless, but it is kind of selfish, because that's what fulfills me. And so
Yes.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yes, absolutely. The harvest is plentiful, right? But the
Yeah.
workers are few. So that is really true. My husband and I own a house outside of Lincoln, and we've been talking like late into the night of like, what should we do? What should we do? How can we use this as an opportunity to house the homeless, or, similar to you, have a transitional living. So I'm looking into what that looks like. I know it'll be a lot of work, but I know that in the end it will be worth it. So
Yeah, it's truly amazing. We were talking yesterday, the Marigold Lane transitional housing, that there's this grant coming out for Nebraska. Or actually, it came out in 2021. I'm not an expert on the grant writing. That is not my realm. That's why somebody else is here. But
right.
ultimately, our goal is we would love to create and build a community of, 4 row houses where
Yes.
it does belong to us, and they can transition in and out of those places. I know it's moving again, but that is ultimately what our goal would be, is to be able to
Hmm.
have row houses where we can get people in temporarily, because the cost that these nonprofit organizations do pay for temporary housing is so much money, but it's just a temporary fix. It's not a long-term solution. Like
Yeah,
finding a room for somebody to spend a week there, it's not a permanent solution. You're not going to be able to get somebody up on their feet in a week's worth of time.
absolutely. Yes.
So that's
Good
just
for you.
amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. And what was the church that you were referring to?
Christ Place Church.
In Lincoln.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. Yeah. If I know of anybody, or if I can share that however I can, I'd love to get that out there, because the more people we can serve, the more people we can help, the better this world will be. And we need
Yes.
more of that. We need more of that.
Absolutely. Keep doing what you're doing. I definitely can see how the row houses would be a big success, and that is just awesome. So,
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit more about how do you balance? I mean, obviously you have a lot. You're on a lot of different boards, and you're a president, and you also have your real estate career and your full-time position, and then also a mom of 4. Like, tell me, how are you
yes.
balancing all of this that could help our listeners to kind of relate or do what you're doing on a high level?
Yes, absolutely. And the crazy thing about this is I was reflecting on this, anticipating the time to get the privilege to be, in a virtual room with you. And I've come to the conclusion that I think it's just ingrained in me. And part of it, I think, is healthy, and maybe some areas are not, right? Because overperforming, overproducing, there's no badge of honor for that. And I've come to terms with that, right? Over the last few years, especially with real estate taking off and, having my youngest that's 2 years old, there's no badge of honor that we get at the end of the day if we're burned out. And so I came into agreement with that. I come from a very small town in Western Nebraska, born to a single family mom, often facing evictions, facing homelessness, and not really having that secure foundation that I'm building for my children. So above all, it's that light that just kind of keeps me going, and keeps me motivated to continue. I really live by four simple principles. And that's part of what I wrote a small TED Talk on. I was a TED Talk speaker, and I did a TED Talk on poverty versus privilege, because oftentimes, it's easy just to want more, 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 and do more, more, more. But for me, I can say it's just that I take a lot of breaks. If I'm tired, I take a break. If my body's telling me get up from your chair, I'll go walk around my neighborhood. I'll get up, I'll get out, I'll color. My kids are huge into Danny Go right now. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's
No.
kind of like an interactive YouTube kiddie show where you're jumping, you're getting up, you're swimming, you're doing these like live interactions. So I just honestly play with my children. Like that's the cure all for me. And then the last thing I would say is I stopped operating. You touched on it a little bit, and in my imposter syndrome, I stopped. I was always afraid of being a Black woman in corporate America, or being a Black woman in my community getting into real estate. My best friend's been in real estate for 9 years now, and she used to tell me all the time, you should do real estate, you would be really good, you should do real estate. I was in graduate school. I'm like, I can't afford to do real estate. She's like, but you can't afford not to, right? So I took the calculated risk, but I won't lie, like a part of me, coming from a Hispanic Nigerian background, I was like, what will they think? Will they want to do business with me? Am I good enough? So I got out of my own way. I paid attention to my self-talk. I paid attention to who I was surrounding myself with. And I just made up my mind that, and I felt as soon as I made up my mind, the universe was conspiring to help me. I made up my mind. I'm good enough. I have what it takes. I can succeed. I was a single mom for about 10 years. And during that time, I couldn't make a lot of shifts. I couldn't, afford to make the jump to start a small business. I was stuck. And I think in those very moments, that's what gave me the power and kind of the divine, mindset to just keep waging forward. And so I got off in the weeds a little bit, but the best thing I can tell you is I show up as my authentic self. I show up as me. Like you see me, this is what you get. I'm not pretending to be something that I'm not. I'm not acting happy when I'm not. I'm being my true authentic self. And I'll tell you what, Shay, the minute that I did that, I'll never forget it. It was about 2.5 years ago. And I'm up there in age, so for me to live my whole life up until 2 years ago, that was a huge, huge breakthrough for me. I was sitting in a meeting, and at the time, my team, I wasn't where I wanted to be professionally. And I thought I was doing all the right things, crossing my T's, dotting my I's. I thought, man, I'm doing all the right things. But I finally decided I got to cut the ribbons and bows. I got to cut the glitter and gold. Like I got to cut the dream puff and yay, everything's amazing. And I just need to show up as Ashley Milner. And the day that I did that, my whole life changed.
I love that, because I think our only limitations are in our own minds, and we get on in our own way, and people don't realize that. They try to blame exterior circumstances. They try to blame, friends, family, this happened to me, the victim mentality. But when we start showing up for ourselves and we start showing up for our family and truly who we are, that's where the game changer is. But I think people also struggle with, they don't know who they are. They think they do, but they truly don't. And you're right. Life is not rainbows and unicorns. It is not. I am not sitting here and pretending like my life is perfect and it is fantastic. Like I get up every day and I thank God for the things that I have, the obstacles that I have overcame, the mountains that I've had to climb. And I know that there's other people who have struggled even more than me, so we have to
Yeah.
appreciate everything. One thing that I really, my daughter, school's tough. Girls are mean. When she has those bad days, I'm like, okay, but what can you be thankful for? And then,
Yes.
those little kids, they're like, oh, nothing, nothing. It was awful. It was the worst day ever. Like,
Yes.
but it wasn't. I said, you have a roof over your head. We're going home. We're driving in a vehicle. Like, you have air in your lungs. You're healthy. I mean, and so then she created a list of everything that she was thankful for.
Wow.
I didn't even ask her to do it.
That's
And then,
powerful.
yeah. And then I woke up the next day and she had another sheet that said how she can be kind to the people, the friends. Because I always teach her, like, just because somebody is mean to you doesn't mean you need to be mean back. Like, you need to be kind.
Right.
How can you make their day better? Can you smile at them? Can you tell them that their shirt is nice? Or, like, I don't care if somebody's mean. That doesn't mean you're mean back. There's usually some
Absolutely.
reason they are going through that. Um,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, and but it's just kind of crazy that life is not perfect. That social media facade, not a real thing.
Right.
We all have our struggles, we all have our hurdles. So I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of getting choked up what you were talking about. Out west, where are you from?
I'm from a small town called Cozad,
Cozad. Okay. Oh yeah,
Nebraska.
I've heard of that over by Lexington.
Yes.
Yep. Yep, I've
Always
heard of that.
feeling like, I'm not fitting in, I don't belong, where am I?
Hmm.
Kind of deal. But yeah, I mean, it's true. We see so much is presented to us. There's an awesome app that I use every day. It's the gratitude app, and it gives you a daily quote of the day. So it gives you the daily Zen. And then it also gives you a journal and a vision board and an affirmation opportunity to write that. So yesterday I kept getting notes from the board that says, write yourself a thank you note. And I was like, wow, like how awesome is this to be able to write myself a thank you note? Like, so I did it and it was awesome. It wasn't long,
Yeah.
but I just said, thank you, Ashley, for always showing up for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I think
funny.
that's
So I did a women's retreat last year, and one of the women brought cards for all of us to fill out and basically write a thank you note for us. And on there it said, "Hey, make sure, open this when you need it." And
right.
so I still have not opened it yet. It's still sitting on my counter, and it was about 3 months after, and I forgot all about it. And I get this letter in the mail and it's from me. I'm like, that looks like my handwriting. What is going on? Like, I was so confused, but I forgot we did that. And I still haven't opened it yet. There's been a couple times in the past year I definitely could have, but part of me wants to wait. And
Yeah,
because I don't remember what I wrote in there. But it is really neat. I think thanking yourself for and appreciating how far you've come, because sometimes we get so caught up on like comparing ourselves to other people, or I'm not where I want to be, that we don't thank ourselves for how far we've come. And
absolutely.
yeah,
It's so important. So
it is.
definitely left me feeling a little more freer for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that is amazing. So tell me a little bit about, okay, so you said that you live by four principles. Is that what you had said?
Yes,
So dive
yes.
into that a little bit more.
Well, it's nothing miraculous. It's nothing that anyone, cannot attain. It's just predominantly centered around my faith, my freedom, my truth, and my peace. And when I started living by those four principles, and for you, obviously that may look differently, but that's when I began to, let some of the chains and shackles of past regrets or, lack of confidence and just different things that I think I've encountered in my life that's either, you know, passed on to me through DNA, which obviously is a whole nother story. But I really started living by those core principles. And each time I find myself in a situation, I turn to those and I'm always able to find my way out or find the next step or connect with a new person or collaborate with people like you or get plugged into my local church. So I feel like those are the four legs that I stand on for my firm foundation.
What are those four principles?
They are just kind of what I mentioned to you. So
Oh,
my
okay.
faith above all, my relationship with my higher power, my freedom, because, I know freedom's not free, in some cases, and just the truth that I walk in with being my true authentic self each day in, day out. And then peace. I've worked so hard to have the right village, right? It takes a village. We hear that all the time. Have the right tribe around me, and just really, I think the key to success in all areas is just creating a space of peace where
Mhm.
there's no drama, right? There's no conflict. Now, life things will happen, yes, but
Yeah.
we are in control of creating an atmosphere of peace if that's what we truly want to, attain. And that's what I've worked hard to do. So those are kind of my guiding lights.
Yeah. So it's very similar to, I guess, what so my sponsor with EXP, what drew me to him was that his 5 core values are faith, family, health, business, and real or no, sorry, faith, health, relationship, business, and finances. So it starts with your faith and it goes in that order because without faith, those other things can't fall into place. Without family or friends and those relationships, like those are the most important things before your business and your finances.
Yes,
And that's what
absolutely.
people don't realize is they're so focused on their finances and they're so focused on their business that everything else goes to the wayside. And then
Uh-huh.
everything eventually will catch up to you and it'll crumble. And
Absolutely.
I would say my faith, like I grew up religious, but I would say that I've really worked on my faith. And I think working on your faith is a daily commitment, just like your fitness is, just like everything else is. I mean, it is a daily commitment. And I have really grown in my faith, I would say at least within the last 9 months to a year. Um, I just really made a huge commitment. Like I've always believed, I've always done all of the things, that you're supposed to do, or so they say.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say it's grown significantly and substantially over the last 9 to 12 months.
That's
And I
awesome.
am so thankful to be able to, I mean, have that opportunity. And just like every morning, I thank God, thank you for another beautiful day. We might still
Yes.
have our struggles, we might still have our challenges that we have to overcome. Life is not just because you're faithful and you believe in God and you're talking to him, doesn't mean everything's going to be rainbows and unicorns, you
No,
know?
it doesn't. Oftentimes, it's the biggest test that we get through that. And so, like you, I plug in my family. I can't have faith without my family. I
Yeah.
can't have freedom without my family. I can't have truth without my family, and I can't have peace without my family. And I think that you made a lot of good points when, look, it's just been in the past 9 to 12 months that you've gotten the breakthrough. And I think that's what people need to have faith in knowing is that it may not look the same for you or me. It may come overnight, it may come in 6 months, right?
Mhm.
But ultimately, I'm a big believer that you have to have faith in what you hope for. More specifically, I think that you must have faith in your future and you must know and internalize the idea that you do have the possibility of achieving anything that you want in life. And if you're
Mhm.
certain of where you want to go, then you're already halfway there. So,
Yeah. Oh, I would absolutely agree with that. And I think that's where a lot of people do struggle is they always say, find your why or get a very clear vision of where you want to go. Well, we struggle with
mhm,
that because sometimes we think we know what we want, and it's usually directed around business and finances, but is that really? No, it really needs to be focused on your faith and your family and your relationships, and then your business and finances can kind of follow that and get you to where you want to go. And that's why we work so hard. Typically is for our family. It's not because we want that $1 million house. I mean, maybe for some people, but that's not me. Like I am not a materialistic person whatsoever. I could
right.
I could shop, I could get second act hand-me-downs and I am fine with it. That's
Yes,
what
I
I
love
I
thrifting.
thrive with my hand-me-downs for my kids, especially. Nope.
Yes.
Just had a friend give me some stuff for my daughter, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is why you have friends who have nice things.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's where I'm at too, especially with 3 boys. And to be honest, I always tied success with money. I was a struggling college student, came from a, single family parent home. My mom was on, public assistance for most of my life. I moved out when I was 15 years old. And so I always thought I want to be anything I want to be. I don't want to be like XYZ, or I don't want to live like XYZ. I want to be this, I want to be that. And really, it's it was sad. That's the only idea that I had about success. And I would always call my old high school principal, hello, Becky Breed, if you're listening, awesome lady. I would tell her, like, I just want to be rich. If I could just get the $20,000 job. And she would be like, but you have your health and you and your daughter have a roof over your head and you're
Oh,
happy and your daughter isn't going to have the life that you did. That is riches. And I'd be like, no, it's not. I'd get a promotion a year later. I'll call it, I got a promotion, I got a raise, but I just want to make 35,000. If I could just make 35,000, I'd have gas in my car. I'd be able to get to, I'd be able to do this and that. And she would always be like, but you have your health. yeah, you have a roof over your head. You are rich. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. 40,000. If I could just get here, if I could just get there. And so it wasn't until probably a few years ago that I was talking to my husband and it just hit me like, wow, here I am married. That alone is a blessing, right? My family's growing up with a two-parent household. Now I understand not everybody gets that. And I was the single mom and I was fine with it, but my kids have a roof over their head. We have our health. Like I'm able-bodied. And now I feel like, wow, boy, was I wrong, right? Like I have a book on my desk by Angela Duckworth. It's called Grit. I don't know if you've read it.
I have
Um,
not. I've heard of it, but I
but
haven't read it.
yeah, the power of passion and perseverance. And man, is it humbling because oftentimes, like, we're deceived into thinking that we need more and this isn't good enough and we're not where we should be. And, just the whole keeping up with the Jones mentality is just the sooner
Exhausting.
we can, yeah,
Very
yeah,
exhausting. And it is interesting because we always want more, but it's because we're not fulfilled. And it's not because we don't have the stuff that we think we want. It's because, like, I
absolutely.
was talking to a friend and they, have this new house now and they got a new vehicle and they love all those things. She's like, I thought that's what I wanted. She goes, but if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have moved. I wouldn't have bought this expensive car. Like, I don't need any of that. She says, that's not what makes me happy. And finding what truly makes you happy and what fulfills you, that's the purpose of our life. How can we give
Yeah.
back to other people? It's not the materialistic things. It's really not.
Mhm.
It's being able
Yeah.
to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. And,
Yes. Freedom.
yeah, it's that freedom, it's that peace, it's that happiness. And I just wish and I hope that especially this episode, but just my podcast in general, can share that light with people that it's not about the materialistic things that we have. Because what do they say? People who are healthy wish for a million things, but the person
Yeah.
who's unhealthy wishes for one. And it's like,
Right. Oh, I have the chills right now, Shay. It's so
yeah,
true.
yeah,
It's okay to have nice things, just don't let the nice things have you.
yeah, yeah.
Sure.
I heard that quote because my dad, we found out back in October he's got cancer. And so
Yeah,
that
sorry
was
to hear
that was
that.
kind of that's one but that's a big thing that people who are healthy wish for a million things because we always want more, 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 more. But the people who are unhealthy wish for one thing. And it's just kind
Right.
of crazy.
Right.
And it's crazy how your perspective can change real quick, but
Yeah.
it's a good thing. It's a blessing. I mean, I see everything as an opportunity. And I truly believe that this could have extended my dad's life another 10, 15, 20, 30 years because the route that most people live, not a healthy, happy life. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a matter of perspective. I mean,
It
everything
is.
happens for a reason, and we have to take it with what it is and live with it and move on and do the best that we can.
Right. Life humbles you real quick in the
It
times
does.
that you least expect it. I'm sorry to hear about your father.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, he's doing pretty good. So, I mean, overall, it's chemo's a whole nother thing that you got to go through, and it's something that you don't understand though either. So that's kind of what catches you off guard is how sick that they really are when you go through these chemo treatments.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about your book that you wrote. What inspired you to
Yes.
write the book?
I wanted amongst the busyness of my life, I wanted a platform. I wanted to be able to just have something. It's a very, very short, quick read, maybe 30 pages, if that. I
Amazing.
did a TED talk a few years back, as I mentioned, on poverty versus privilege. And so I just wanted to transform that into a quick read so that when I am speaking and, eventually when I am launching different business opportunities, I have something that people can take away. And if it's just one word, if it's just
Mhm.
an example, or if it's just the four principles, or if it's just the faith, or if it's just the peace, or, whatever it may be, that someone can walk away being a better person after connecting with me. And
Mhm.
so I just wanted to have a tangible thing, right? Because we want things. And I just wanted somebody to have it. So it's
Yeah.
just a very quick read, Poverty
Yeah.
versus Privilege. You can find it on Amazon or Kindle. Just got motivated one night, stayed up late, got it done, woke up the next day like, yay, I did it. And so it wasn't the amount of pages that really mattered to me. It was the commitment to make a book cover. It was the commitment to feel like my voice is heard. And
Mhm.
it was just a commitment to myself to take my ideas and put it on paper. As you probably know, being a mompreneur and an entrepreneurial mindset, I have all these ideas circling around. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Oh, I'm gonna create a bottle for moms that are breastfeeding that can attach to their chin and they can walk around with their baby. Like all these ideas. I'm gonna create slides that have Swiffer wipes on them. Like all these things, but I never put them, right?
Yeah.
And we're instructed and we're told in the Bible to write the vision and make it clear. And whatever your higher power is or whatever it is that you believe in, no matter what, you have to write it down. You
Hmm.
you have to write it down. You have to bring it to fruition. I did it. I wrote it down. And if it doesn't go anywhere, I checked off another thing off my list. And that's all that matters to me.
I'm definitely gonna get one. I'm definitely gonna go and buy the book, and I am
Awesome.
absolutely
Same.
going to read it. I'm gonna share it with our Real Moms community, which obviously I will invite you to it as well. It's
Yes,
on
please do.
Facebook, but
I would love that.
yes, would love to have you to be a part of that as well. So I'm definitely going to get that book. That is absolutely amazing. I've always thought about
Awesome.
writing a book and doing that. But again, like you said, like we have all these ideas, but writing it down. I'm actually going to go back to what I told my daughter the other day because she was telling me all the things that girls are mean and all of that. I said, okay, well, get that out of your head. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper and then throw it away. Like throw away
Yes.
what they said because it doesn't matter, but I want you to get it out of your mind. She goes, oh, so that makes sense. I need to take it out of my head. So then I have more room in my mind, and then I can just get rid of it. I'm like, that's right. Yeah, you can do
Yeah,
that. That's what
I
it
love
is.
that.
Yeah.
Compartmentalizing has been a huge tool for me to overcome a lot of hurdles and battles in my life. And to be honest with you, Shay, whenever my daughter may be borderline, getting grounded or may not, do what she needs to do, we'll write notes to each other. And man, do I learn so much about my daughter through notes. We'll
Yeah.
just pass a note to each other. Okay, hey, my daughter will be like, I wrote you a note. And I'm like, great, I'll read it. I'll respond back in the note. You got mail, knock on the door, put it under her
Oh,
door. It's awesome. It is really one of the best things. Now, is that possible for everything? No. But in that moment, it's an awesome way to express yourself. It
yeah.
really is.
Yeah. Well, and because especially kids, I mean, adults too, but we don't know how to express ourselves. But if we could put it down on paper, it helps us to be able to at least, and it's easier. It's easier because I mean, obviously, social media, it's easier to put something on paper or on the computer and then let somebody else know about it versus telling them personally, especially to their face.
Absolutely. I agree
I
100%.
love that idea though. I love
Yeah,
that idea. I think that's fantastic because especially girls, they don't always want to talk about the problems or the issues that they're coming across. But if they could put it on paper and let me read it, then I can see them opening up more.
yes, that's what. So hopefully it'll continue. The other day I picked her up. She was in tears. Someone had um, unfriended her on Snapchat. And in my mind, I'm like, girl, so what? Like, you have so many friends, not a big deal. But in her mind, she was like crushed.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, Rosie, I'm sharing this, but she got over it really fast. She's like, it's fine. You're right. I have a lot of friends. It's not a big deal. And it's just staying close, being in the trenches with that, right? Doing what you need to do, whether it's writing notes, writing it down, taking a walk, getting out, getting moving, staying true to yourself, being, direct. My whole life, people have told me, like, you're too ambitious, you're too direct, you're too strong, you're too this, you're too goal orientated, you're too, and wow, had I listened, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today.
Mm-hmm.
So thank
Yeah.
you for giving, people like me and others in your community the platform to be heard, because there's a lot of other people out there like me that can't take the jump, that can't take the leap, that, don't have the money or is struggling. They don't have the support. They don't know what to do. But for you to be a light, and to open this door, I think, we're going to see a big change happen. I feel it's coming. There's a shift occurring, and I'm excited to witness it. I can't wait to chime back into your future
Yeah.
podcast session. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I truly appreciate you being here, Ashley.
absolutely.
If there was one piece of advice, if somebody's listening and you could help one person, what one piece of advice would you give them?
That's a very good question. Being a mompreneur, I have a whole bunch of ideas, but I would say just stay true to yourself. Just stay true to yourself. What other people think about you does not matter. The only thing that matters is what you believe about yourself. Stay true to yourself.
Yeah, I love that. One of my favorite quotes is, your problem with me is not my problem.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
I
as long
love
as you're
that.
not being malicious and you're not trying to sabotage anybody else, your problem with me, it's really not my problem.
Yeah, it's none of my business. It's none of
No.
our business.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Because
No.
oftentimes it's a whole nother issue, right?
Yeah,
That we
it's
don't need
it's
to
an
take on.
underlying issue with them. It actually ultimately has nothing to do with me. It's usually jealousy or envious or something along those lines, but it's nothing I did or did not do. So that's what
Yes,
people need to realize, is that somebody else's problem with you is not your problem.
I
It's
love that.
theirs.
I
So
think that's a great note to end with.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley, for being here. And if anybody needed to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
They can reach out to me directly. My number's all over the web. It's, my contact number, email me. I'm around. I'm not hard to find. So
Sounds good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ashley, for being here.
thank you so much for your time. Have a blessed day.
You too. And that wraps up another inspiring episode of the Real Moms Podcast. A huge thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their story and insights today. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And hey, sharing is caring, right? Share this podcast with your fellow mompreneurs, friends, and anyone who you feel could use a dose of inspiration. Share it on your social media as well. But most importantly, if you found this episode helpful, please, please, please leave me a 5-star review. This helps get our information out to those who have never heard or seen us before. Are you feeling inspired and you're sure that you could add some value to the podcast? Shoot me a message and let's talk. We love hearing from you. So connect with us on social media. Tag me at Shay J Spitz. That's ShaeJSpitz. And share your thoughts and takeaways, or even suggest topics you'd like to have us explore more in the future episodes. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. Your resilience is your strength, and your pursuit of abundant living is truly remarkable. As always, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep embracing the beautiful chaos of being a mompreneur. Until next time, take care, stay real, and keep living abundantly.